This video presentation has been classified by the ABC as M. It contains material that is not recommended for persons under 15 years.
As well as this vodcast, you can watch Good Game on ABC2 every Tuesday night at 8:30 or download it at abc.net.au/goodgame.
Hello and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers. I'm Junglist.
And I'm Barjo. Roger Federer, Leighton Hewitt and Maria Sharapova will be joining us. Well, their virtual selves will be, as we take centre court in Virtua Tennis 3.
Hideo Kojima is the creator of the Metal Gear Solid series and one of the most celebrated game designers of all time. He was in Australia recently and Good Game caught up with him.
I wanted to create the ultimate, hide and seek on a 3D level.
Plus reviews of Armed Assault, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the ultimate showdown for this week is the best weapon.
Phew. But first, here's the news.
Good Game! The Chinese government will introduce strict new rules in July that will limit the time under 18s are allowed to game. Software installed on machines will restrict gamers to 3 hours of normal play a day. If they want to play for longer, they will only gain half the amount of points. And if a gamer notches up 5 hours in one session, their scores will be zeroed. In order to play at all, gamers will have to register their real names and identity card numbers, and companies who fail to comply with the new rules will risk having their games shut down.
Activision has announced more Guitar Hero is on the way, and this time it will be developed for all next-generation platforms. In-house studio Neversoft will take over development from Harmonix. The game will be one of the first games developed for all of the next-gen consoles. Expect to see it later this year.
Guinness World Records have announced they're working on a book dedicated to video games. This follows research that showed the gamer section of the current Guinness Book of World Records is one of the most popular sections of the book. The new release will include reviews of the biggest games of the year, record game scores, sales figures, and technical achievements. The book is currently in production and is due for release in April 2008. Good game! Okay, Gamerinos! Here's a classic for you. Can you remember the name of this bubble-popping adventure? Answer at the end of the show. Good game!
Fancy a hit, old chap?
Haha, sure, buddy. Oh!
Game, set, and match. Player one.
Virtua Tennis 3 is the latest in a long line of tennis simulators brought out by Sega, dating all the way back to the Dreamcast. This one's on the 360 and the PlayStation 3.
No surprises that the game attempts to capture as realistically as possible the experience of being a pro tennis player.
Out 15 love.
The controls are actually pretty simple to master, which surprised me because I thought this was going to be some kind of complex tennis simulator kind of thing, but it's really just one button and good positioning. Slightly off and you'll end up sprawled on the ground and it's going to take you some time to get back on your feet.
In fact, you spend quite a lot of time on your knees in this game. The way the shots and the camera works in this, it makes it look like it's actually a tennis-covered game on the TV, and that's really cool. The technical aspects of the game will be appreciated by any kind of tennis player. It's all about wrong-footing your opponent and ball placement. You're certainly going to get your fix if you're a tennis player and you don't get to a real court.
In World Championship mode, you've got 20 years to try and take and hold on to the world #1 spot. You can create your own character and level them up through playing mini-games and tournaments. The coach gives you tips, and just like in real life, you can injure yourself and you'll have to sit the next one out.
I did find the loading times on the mini-games to be a little bit tedious. Some of these games only last for 60 seconds, so it was a little bit dull waiting for them to load. Having said that, though, they do break up the seriousness of the tennis play and lead to some fantastic times.
I don't know about you, Badger, but I was wondering when this game's going to get hard. It's like 20 matches into the game, and AI still hasn't even taken a round off me.
Yeah, it is pretty easy in single player, but one thing I noticed about this, it's great fun watching other people play. It's a really good spectator game, and you can't say that about many games.
40-30.
Most top players are represented, and you can choose to either play as or against them in some of the world's top arenas. They did a good job of capturing the likenesses of the players and the locations. They've even got some of the signature moves in there as well.
And it's pretty remarkable how no matter where your model is in relation to the ball, when you go for the swing, there's no frame clipping or skipping. It's very fluid, and that's really next gen, and it gives me happies.
Absolutely.
Love 30.
How would you compare it to Wii Tennis?
Well, it's a very different game. It's a lot more serious. Wii Tennis is really fun because of the Wii Remote, but VT focuses more on tactics and ball placement and that kind of thing. So they are very different games, and I didn't think it would touch Wii Tennis, even though Wii Tennis isn't a full game, but I was wrong completely.
Well, Badger Pants, final score?
I really like the pick up and play aspect of this game. It is just simple, good fun.
Almost too simple?
Yeah, it is a bit. It's not until you play against a real-life opponent that the game kicks up a notch. And I'm not really into sports sims, but I really got into this one. And I'm no Roger Federer either, but I gotta say, I feel like I've played some real tennis now.
I'd agree. It does capture the speed, tactics, and drama of tennis. For any sports games fan, this is a good purchase. I'm giving 8 out of 10 rubber chickens with strawberries and cream.
This is a game I'm definitely going to be putting back in the slot. It's 8 out of 10 little pluckers from me too.
If you're finding that you're having trouble aiming when you're playing an FPS, you can try changing your pointer precision. To do this, go into the control panel under mouse, go to pointer options and untick enhance pointer precision. This gives the mouse a more direct feel, and if you prefer it, can help your game greatly. And that's a top tip.
This week's Ultimate Showdown is the best weapon of all time.
We've coned our brains and the forums to come up with the best damage-dealing weapons worthy of mention.
And you know, Badjo, a good weapon in the right hands can really make or break a game.
It's true. First up, like Frosty from the forums, I'm a shotgun kind of guy. The double-barreled shotgun in Doom 2 always made me smile.
Absolutely, and you know the power sword from Halo? That just took a melee weapon and made it shiny.
True, but it was more of a glorified chainsaw than anything else.
The auger from Resistance Fall of Man I found pretty interesting. Not only could it tunnel through any enemy's cover, it actually made the shot more powerful.
I fondly remember the nuke in Shadow Warrior. When that countdown started, it would cause some pretty hectic multiplayer action.
Warning.
And while we're talking about Duke 3D clones, let's not forget the shrink gun from Duke 3D.
The flood gun in Mario Sunshine as well, and that was very versatile and you could use it to hover around. No weapon has caused more internet strife than the AWP from Counter-Strike.
And while we're on one-shot wonders, let's not forget the spiraling beam of death that was the Quake 2 railgun. Had a really satisfying gibbing effect when you landed a shot.
I love Kratos' standard weapon from God of War, Pain on a Chain.
While we're talking about pointy things on the end of long things, don't forget Scorpion Spear in Mortal Kombat.
And what about the 3 red shells from Mario Kart? I mean, not only could you shoot them and it was very satisfying, but they had a protective function as well.
Even though it's not out yet, we're pretty excited about the Portal gun that comes in the minigame bundled with the next Half-Life installment. Well, you know, there's so many different answers that we could have here, so we've broken it down into 3 categories to make it a bit easier.
There's a lot of funny weapons out there, too many to compare, so we've gone with an old favorite, the old woman bomb from Worms.
The most powerful gun of all time has been widely considered to be the BFG from Doom. In comparison to the hurt the other guns did in the game, this was huge. The green ball of death was incredibly devastating.
Forum vote was pretty clear. The gravity gun from Half-Life 2 is the coolest gun of all time. Not only could you use it to pick up things and put them down and solve puzzles, but the super gravity gun turned any other model into ragdoll.
So our vote is the gravity gun from Half-Life 2.
Good game.
We've got here Chris, aka Chaos, and Ben, aka Sharpie. Two of the best Halo 2 players in Australia. How you guys going?
Good, mate.
Yeah. Now, we're going to get some Halo 2 tips from these guys. What's the best gun to use in the right situation?
Well, it depends on the map as well, but the most commonly used weapon would have to be the battle rifle, because it's not too bad at medium range and it's also pretty good at short range.
And is there specific combos that you use?
The battle rifle and plasma pistol combo is actually really good. The plasma pistol, you charge up and shoot first, and it drains your opponent's shield, and then it's just one battle rifle shot to the head and they die. That's one of the most common combos in the game.
Well, Halo 2 is played on a console. How competitive is the console scene compared to the PC scene?
In Australia, there's a lot more PC players just because there's a lot more games for them around, but with a lot more competitions happening and like more people finding out about it with Xbox Live and stuff, there's a lot more players coming onto the scene.
So how long have you guys been playing?
I've been playing since the game originally came out in, I think it was 2002. I bought my Xbox and Halo 1 the same day.
I started when Halo 1 basically came out. Competitively, I've started playing 3.5 years ago in WCG 04, where I ended up coming third in Australia, so that was all right.
How many hours a week would you guys have to practice to keep up this competitive level?
With the amount of people that play at the moment, like there are really good players out there who play now. You would have to play, I would say, about 10 hours a week at least to be able to compete with the guys who play in Australia.
What maps are usually used in Wars and Halo?
Usually the small maps, so maps like Midship, Warlock, Lockout, Beaver Creek and Ivory Tower. Just generally they're better for Slayer, so you come in contact with the players a lot more and there's a lot more action going on, so the games don't last as long. They're also good because they're usually symmetric, so you've got bases at either side and there's power-ups in most of them anyway, and so you can use the map to your advantage if you can control it well.
Once you've got those better weapons, is it much easier to just shut the other team down?
That is really the main idea of competitive Halo. It's about not so much about your aim, but mainly your position on the map and how well you can control it and the weapons.
So at the start of a deathmatch, is it just a mad dash to get those better weapons, and then after that one team is dominating?
Once you start, you usually go for either the power-ups or the weapons, so you've got overshield, invisibility, and your main weapons that you'd look for depending on the map are obviously your rockets, your sword, sniper, and in some cases like a plasma pistol and a BR.
Now, is there any things you can do to practice your aim?
Just find any wall in the game, shoot a hole in it, and then strafe left and right while shooting that same hole. And over time, if you keep doing it, the gaps between your bullets will get smaller and smaller, which in theory makes your aim a bit better.
Any other general gameplay tips you guys have?
One of the main things, if you do want to get better and become competitive at Halo, is probably playing with better players. If maybe like look at some videos of professional gamers and copy their tactics and their moves and stuff.
Chaos and Sharpie, thanks heaps for joining us on Good Game.
No worries.
Thanks for having us.
Each week on the show, we like to give away a Good Game shirt to the best review posted on our forums. This week, it's... Hideo Kojima is without a doubt one of the world's most celebrated game designers. His series Metal Gear Solid was a huge success among gamers and critics alike, introducing the concept of stealth within gaming and a complex storyline, and pushing the PlayStation hardware to its limits. And the main character, Snake, is one of the most acclaimed game heroes ever created. We heard that Hideo Kojima would be at the Go3 conference in Perth, so Good Game went to meet him.
In Metal Gear Solid series on the PS, I wanted to create Metal Gear on a 3D environment again of the past series, and wanted to create the ultimate, hide and seek on a 3D level. I'm satisfied to a certain extent, but of course I'm not fully satisfied. That's why I've been creating Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, and this time Metal Gear Solid 4. This time MGS4 will be the ultimate masterpiece, which I am aiming. Since it's a Metal Gear Solid series, I would like to still have a basic concept of hide and seek, which it's a stealth game and you try to maneuver your character so that you will not get spotted.
Is it him? Let's go.
But of course, there's many new ideas that I have chunked in there for MGS4. So it will be still a hide-and-seek game, but on a different level of tension that I could probably bring to the users. First goal that I'm always thinking is how to please the Metal Gear Solid fans. It could be the fans of Metal Gear Solid 1 or 2 or 3 or even maybe on the PSP, but I'm trying to aim so that everyone who loves my game is satisfied. That's my first goal. Only then comes the users who bought the next gen with high expectations of a high game. I might try to think about them, but on a first scale, first comes first. I would like to concentrate on all the fans who have played my game before. It's very natural of a flow where you receive a budget because the previous one was a hit. What I want to do is pursue new technology. And when I create something and becomes a hit, then I get more budget for my sequel. This whole kind of budgeting and funding is really interesting. It's not, I don't feel it as a pressure. It's very natural that you need to create a hit in order to pursue what you want to do in technology. That's the challenge here, where you have the budget, but you want to create something new and you want to create using more higher advanced technology, and you have that risk at the same time. So that's why I think this challenging and funness have made me do the Metal Gear series for such a long time now. I think I would like to make MGS4 my last one. However, that does not mean I'm not going to do Metal Gear Solid series anymore. In the future, I would like to kind of step up as a producer and make my young bloods, my young staffs, go on to create their own Metal Gear, and that's one of my wish. Currently, we hear that PS3 is struggling a little throughout the world. However, from this Christmas, I understand that there will be many titles coming out for the PS3. And then after that, I believe that PS3 will become popular. I still believe that 360 will continue its popularity. And also, Wii as well continue its popularity. So overall, I think that the game industry will become lively again, starting from next year.
Hey, so what's in the abnormally large box of holding?
I'll give you a hint.
Well, it's massive enough to be generating its own gravitational field.
Prepare to witness the devastatingly black monolith of cell-powered might.
Dude, you got a PS3.
Well, you better get ready, because the awesomeness that will be the PS3 home where MMO meets Sims, crossbred with Nintendo's Mii's, gene-spliced with Second Life, will obliterate your pathetic human time measurements.
Well, hooray for Sony's attitude of nicking ideas finally paying off with a product that actually seems to improve on the stuff they're Borrowing.
Oh, and I was just reading online that they're making a PS3 version of SingStar. It's going to work with the webcam so you can upload vids of yourself singing for everybody to see.
My God. My head threatens to explode in sheer terror just at the mere thought of it. Do you feel a draft?
La 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 la, so you think you can't game.
Trauma Center is a neat little Japanese game for the Nintendo DS where you get to play a surgeon, making the world a better place, saving lives, you know, that kind of deal. Thanks to the same wacky Japanese though, at the end of the game you have to fight a series of bosses. Don't ask. So let's take a look at how we can beat the last boss, Savado. Start as you normally would, gel and incise. Basic strategy for this first phase is to cut away the webs which are surrounding Savado. Ignore the babies, it's much more important to spend time cutting away the web and keeping up your vitals. Once you're done, Savado will bolster his shield by absorbing all the babies. Use this time wisely and get your vitals up. For the next phase, you will need to pull out your laser and burn away Savado's shield. Keep on doing this as much as possible and, as same as before, ignore the babies because they don't do much. If your vitals ever drop below 30, get them up again. Once the shield goes down, get your scalpel out and give Savado a quick stab. You'll need to do this another 2 times before he goes down. Finally, inject him with the black serum. He'll go nuts, he'll start running around everywhere and cutting up all types of places, but don't worry, the cuts don't do any damage. The healing touch will activate automatically, so use the time to suture your cuts up and get your vitals up. You'll get a second healing touch as well, so activate this when you can. Finally, when that's done, inject him with the black serum one more time and he'll explode in this big blue cloud of death. And that's it, that's the end of the game. So good luck with beating Savado. Until next time, this is Aya out.
Good game!
Foxtrot, this is Echo 1. I have a visual on the convoy. All looks as expected, over.
Arma, Armed Assault, is a modern military first-person shooter focusing on ultra-realism, so much so that it borders on being a combat simulator rather than a game. Despite being released by the makers of Operation Flashpoint, Arma has received minimal exposure since its Australian release. We're going to fix that right now.
It's obvious before the campaign actually begins that this game takes your average FPS outside your comfort zone.
Crossroad to Golf, Bravo team is ready to the city of Paraiso, but at the moment we have no available transport for them.
Not in Kansas anymore, Toto. One bullet might kill you. The guns are separated into separate bullet clips, and also accuracy is a major factor. You have to judge wind resistance, bullet drop time, and the lead time up to your target.
Overall, the game's pretty hard, and that's mainly due to its decent AI. You need to take your time. And pretty much every mission so far reminds me of the Special Forces stage in America's Army.
You mean the hardest one by far?
Yeah, that's the one, and there's only one difficulty setting and no save as feature. Ouch!
Large maps and intelligent opponents make for a lot of tactical retreating in this game.
Yeah, and you find that quite challenging at first, and it takes up a lot of time, but then you come to appreciate it because it makes you think outside the box.
Audio cues serve their purpose in making you sound tired, but it does sound a little bit like you're sawing wood. Overall, I think the sound is generally a bit lacking, especially in the diversity of the gun sound effects.
That's right, the AI speaks in broken fragments, such as 2, enemy, north, 100 meters. This makes for decent communication in unlimited scenarios, but it sounds bad, and there's some situations where the AI is just chattering non-stop.
Yeah, it fills your screen with a lot of text and little chatter boxes. It is an ambitious attempt at something very real, but by doing this, it's actually sounding a bit unrealistic.
4, target that man.
Where are you? At 12 o'clock. Enemy, man. 50 meters.
Just like the campaign, multiplayer requires patience, planning, and discipline. There are local servers for Arma with low pings, so that's a good thing, and there's a fledgling local community springing up as well.
There is a bit of a problem with the online community at the moment, though. It takes about 20 minutes of lobby waiting for a game to actually start, and then once you die, that's it, game over. You have to wait for everyone else in your team to die before you get back in action.
This isn't a 30-second Counter-Strike affair either. We're talking another 10 minutes here. Respawning is a server option, but most of the time online you'll find this turned off.
There's no bunny hopping, running away, there's no fluke headshots. If your enemy gets the upper hand on you, it's going to take some pretty quick reflexes to get out of trouble. Often you're killed online mainly because of your impatience.
Although the design of Arma makes sure that it will never experience even a fraction of the online activity other FPS games enjoy, it serves its niche well. Luckily, a game like this attracts a much more mature community than other FPS games. You've got to be serious about your FPS to actually enjoy Arma, so chances are if you get online, you're going to easily find some nice guys to clan with.
Another thing that will help the online community is the campaign editor. It's a little bit tricky to get your head around at first, but I think soon we'll get some enthusiasts who'll make some great maps and campaigns, and they'll go along really well with the official one. You know, I'm not afraid to admit it, but this game is a little bit too hardcore for me.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I can 100% appreciate the game, but it's a bit too much for me personally. So how do we rate it?
Well, how about I rate it in terms of fun, and you rate it in terms of uber realism?
Harsh realism demands a 9 out of 10 rubber chickens from this game. As a project, it achieved what it set out to do.
From a fun factor, it's really only a 6 out of 10. There's little in the way of bugs, but there is minimal entertainment value. Who do you think will like this game, Joe?
War veterans, if you're in the Army Reserves, this game will be right up your alley. If you enjoyed Operation Flashpoint or America's Army, you'll like this a lot as well.
I think if you're a first-time FPSer and you're not really enjoying the current online colourful community, this might be something worthy of a try.
Either way, there's a demo available on the net, so Good Game suggests giving it a try. But if you're like Badjo and me and you play FPS just for one reason and one reason only, and that is giving someone else a shotgun facelift, you're probably going to bite off more than you can chew. Gamers, did you remember the retro game for this week?
It was Bubble Bobble, a level-based action-adventure where you, a small dinosaur, rushed to save your friends by popping bubbles and foes.
It was one of the first games to feature multiple endings, the best of which was only available with 2 players.
Well, sadly, John, that's it for Good Game this week.
Next week, Dragon Ball Z 2 makes it onto the Wii.
This is the end for you!
More Meat Space, Aya, and the Doc.
Till then, gamers, Badjo out.
Jung out.